Well, good evening, race fans, and welcome to Autodrome Chaudiere for the NASCAR Pinty Series Bud Light 300. The anthem was just completed. These drivers will have the opportunity to strap into their NASCAR Pinty Series stock cars, and then it'll be time for 300 laps around this beautiful Autodrome Chaudiere. The size of the racetrack makes it a bull ring. It is a short track. Very quick laps, under 13 seconds or right around 13 seconds. The track record a hair under that. But the track is wide. There's 3 or 4 usable grooves at each end of this racetrack. It is high banked. The driver who wins today is going to have to be aggressive, going to have to work traffic to perfection. And it's going to be a driver who's able to save their equipment, save the right front, save the right rear, save the brakes as long as they can for a sprint to the finish. 300 laps is the distance. There's going to be a break around the midway point. So there won't be a live pit road today, so these drivers are going to be up on the wheel right from the drop of the green flag. Autodrome Chaudiere, about 45 minutes south of Quebec City in Quebec, Ontario, not too far from the U.S. border. It's actually closer to Maine than it is to Quebec City down here, but these race fans are rabid, and they have come out in force here this afternoon. An enormous crowd is on hand to take in this event. The man of the hour has been the man of the hour all season long. The young man from Grimsby, Ontario, the driver of the number 20 FBM Delta Bingo race car. Trayton Lapsevich from Grimsby, Ontario, leads the points coming in. He set fast time. There have been 2 races this year, one at Sunset Speedway, one at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Trayton Lapsevich has won each of those races, and he's done it in spectacular fashion. Look at that crowd on hand. There are not a lot of open seats here, and they have been here for hours enjoying the local racing. A number of storylines to talk to you about. We'll talk about it as the day goes on. But our front row is a tale of 2 drivers and a tale of 2 seasons. Trayton Lapsevich seemingly can do no wrong this year. The driver starting alongside has not had the kind of start to the season that we are used to. Andrew Ranger finds himself 15th in points. He has yet to score a top 10 finish. In fact, his average finish so far this season, a 17.5. So for this multi-time series champion, today is a great opportunity to right this ship, get things going in the right direction for himself. And he'll have no problem starting from the outside of that front row. In fact, I expect this driver to work the outside lane. He's always one of the first drivers to head up to the high side. So he and Trayton Lapsevich shouldn't be arguing about what lane they want to run out here this afternoon, because Ranger will go to the outside, Lapsevich will go to the inside. Row number 2 has another former champion, LP Dumoulin, the WeatherTech number 47, and you're going to notice on the outside of row number 2, what a beautiful looking race car that is. The GMPaillet.com number 3. It is a 3-race deal with Alex Gannett, Ed Hackinson Racing, and GM Paillet. So Gannett is running the 3 all season long, but for 3 races, it is going to look like the Intimidator. A Dale Earnhardt look-alike paint scheme, and that car stands out on the racetrack. It is a piece of work. The fans are in love with it, and Alex Gannett knows a little bit of pressure comes with driving that paint scheme and that number, and he's up for the challenge. Rounding out the top 5 in qualifying, Donald Teege. This is his home track from Boischatel, Quebec. He's run a lot of laps here at Autodrome Chaudiere. I expect him to be a contender all day long. As you look up and down through this field, there are quality cars from one end to the other. Let's fill you in on a few other stories we know about. Dexter Stacy qualified his car in the top 10, that recap number 92. Qualified at 9th, he does not expect to finish this race. At the halfway break, we expect Raphael Lessard, recently approved by NASCAR, because he hasn't done any racing this year, and these drivers every year they have to pass a medical. There's a number of things they have to do to be licensed to compete in a NASCAR race. So they finally got approval today for Rafael Lessard. We are going to see him climb behind the wheel of that 92 for the second half of this race. So there's a story we're going to be following all afternoon. Further back through the field, starting a little deeper than he would have liked to, but it is the maiden voyage for the brand new FMR. Fellows McGraw Racing number 87. The AER Manufacturing blue and white 87 machine. Again, GM Paillet is on the quarter panel of this race car. It was only a matter of time before Sam Fellows and Chevrolet got together. Of course, Ron Fellows, his father, long-time partnership with Chevrolet. So excited to see what Sam Fellows can do with this race car. Mike Knott, the crew chief on that 87 machine. Mike Knott, he's been to victory lane before in the NASCAR Pinty series. He knows his way around these race cars. From what we understand, there is some support from McCall Racing Enterprises. This was actually a car formerly driven by Pete Shepard in the series. Matthew Kingsbury makes his return to the NASCAR Pinty Series behind the wheel of the Duro King number 12. He was top 10 fastest in practice. He'll look to back that up and have a good afternoon here on the racetrack. Qualifying a little deeper in the field than we would have expected, DJ Kennington, that Castrol Edge 17. He's got his work cut out for him. He'll start in the 16th spot in that familiar green, red, and white number 17. Notable entries here today. Of course, Trayton Lapcevich has won the first two races. He has a 12-point lead in the point standings, but Marc-Antoine Camirand and Kevin Lacroix, the 96 of Camirand, the 74 of Kevin Lacroix, they have both scored a pair of top 5 finishes. So they haven't lost a ton of ground to points leader Trayton Lapcevich, but somebody needs to knock that young man off. Trayton Lapcevich could make history winning the first 3 races of the NASCAR Pinty Series. Nobody has accomplished that in the history of the series. And with Trayton stealing all of the victory lanes so far, even though we're only 2 races into a 14-race schedule, there's a number of drivers chomping at the bit. They've got to get themselves into victory lane, some of them trying to turn their seasons around, some of them just trying to gain on some momentum they've already started. But surprises in the point standings, of course, Andrew Ranger down in 15th. Alex Tagliani down in the 10th spot, only 1 top 10 finish out of 2 starts. So some drivers have been overachieving this year, and some drivers are struggling to start things off. Sophomore racer J.P. Bergeron behind the wheel of the number 1 machine, the Prolong Controls. Russo Metals Ford, he's in the top 10 in the point standing, 7th in the points, a couple of top 10 finishes. So he's been steadily performing this season, and that is the key. You've got to get to the end of these races. You've got to run all of the laps. So far, as I look down through the point standings, 8 drivers have run all the laps so far this season. Dexter Stacy in the 8th spot has run all but 1 lap. He's 8th in the point standings, but everyone else in the top 10, with the exception of Alex Tagliani, have run all 301 laps between Sunset Speedway and what were run at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. So the command has been given to fire these engines up. The front straightaway has been cleared of pedestrians. We will soon see these drivers take off for their first of 4 pace laps to get some heat into these General tires. Again, there's no live pit road here at Chaudiere. It is a small racetrack. As you can see, there's no pit road on the inside of the track. You're going to see a little bit later on when they exit the racetrack, you exit on the outside between turns 3 and 4, and then it's a bit of a labyrinth that they have to drive through to get back to their pit areas. So they'll all head back to that area at the halfway break, and they'll be able to service those cars at that time. So nobody's going to have an opportunity to gain or lose spots on pit road. Mike Chaudiere waves the yellow flag from the flag stand. We'll start the pace laps. You'll get an idea of just how short this track is. Beautiful setting here in the hills south of Quebec City. Gorgeous area. In fact, it's hard to describe the way this track is built. The grandstands actually sit on a hill. So the hill leading down to the racetrack, one part of the pits is up a hill, one part of the pits you have to drive around a hill to get to it, but just a beautiful piece of land. And they built this racetrack in 1992, originally built as a dirt track. Then 4 years later, they paved over it. And I've got to say, they did a beautiful job. It was a good decision to put the asphalt on here because some great racing here at Chaudiere. In fact, in my opinion, the best short track we have ever seen. The best short track race we have ever seen in the NASCAR Pinty Series. Years ago here at Chaudiere when Caden Lapsevich and Alex Labay put it on an absolute clinic, battling side by side, swapping from inside lane to outside lane. A phenomenal event that afternoon, but that's just the kind of racing that this track can produce. We look up and down through the field. There's going to be drivers who want to get to the front and pace this field. They want to get out there and be the rabbit. There's a lot of drivers that'll just settle in and try to turn laps. We look in the middle of the field. Drivers like Larry Jackson in that 84, Brandon Watson in the 9, DJ Kennington in the 17. I believe he's going to want to advance some positions, get himself into the top 10, and then we'll see that driver on cruise control, not pushing the race car, conserving as much tires and brakes as he can. In fact, DJ Kennington dropping to the back of this field, so he must have made an adjustment after E3 spark plugs pole qualifying. So he will start shotgun on the field. Race fans, it is time to go racing in the Bud Light 300 from Autodrome Chaudiere. The pace car has peeled off of the racetrack. Trayton Lapsevich in the number 20. Andrew Ranger in the 27. Green flag is in the air. We are underway. Side by side down the back straightaway. We mentioned already, Andrew Ranger has no problem running the outside at any racetrack, let alone here at Autodrome Chaudiere at the stripe. Trayton Lapsevich going to lead lap number 1, but they continue to run door to door for that top spot. LP Dumoulin had cleared the 3 of Alex Gannett. Gannett trying to force the issue, get up there on the outside. Ranger pulls in line right behind Trayton Lapsevich. So he's going to allow Lapsevich to lead this one and not push the issue. Although I say that as though Andrew Ranger had a choice. Trayton Lapsevich went out there and took that lead. Alex Gannett in the 3 trying to hold off the 80 of Donald T. So right now the inside lane is the preferred groove around this place. As the race wears on, as we get into lap traffic today, that could change. Problem for Matthew Kingsbury on the front straightaway in that Duro King number 12. He is off the pace and slow in turn number 2. That will bring out a yellow flag, our first yellow flag of the afternoon. So this will be tough if he has a flat tire. And he does not. Kingsbury, looks like all 4 tires are still up. It is difficult, almost impossible, to get to pit road, get a tire changed, and get back on the racetrack without losing a lap, even under yellow, because it is so tricky to get around, like we said, that labyrinth at track exit. So while the field is slowed down for this yellow, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back from Autodrome Chaudiere. Welcome back to Autodrome Chaudiere. We're under our first yellow of the day. Matthew Kingsbury in that number 12. It looked as though he had made contact with the outside wall off of turn number 4, but it might have just been that the car lost fire. There was a little jostling for position down there. It looked as though he had driven away, and then the car came to rest on the front stretch. So they'll push that car back to the pit area. He has already lost a handful of laps. So Matthew Kingsbury's return to the NASCAR Pinty Series has not been a triumphant one so far. Trayton Lapcevich took the lead at the drop of the green flag. Okay, maybe the car took fire on the backstretch. No. Still being pushed by the push truck. Trayton Lapcevich took the lead. He has led all the laps so far. Andrew Ranger hung out on the outside for a little while, but then tucked back in line. LP Dumoulin was closing in, so Ranger tucked back in line while he could still get back in line. We'll see if he mounts a challenge here on this restart. Undoubtedly, Ranger will drive it deep down into turn number 1, see if he's got anything to contend with Lapcevich. But without much lap traffic, nobody has really gone up to that second and third groove to lay down some rubber, build up some heat in the asphalt, find them any grip. DJ Kennington has already passed 4 cars, so he's moved up from the 21st spot up to the 17th position. 16th position out there is DJ Kennington, the Castrol Edge Dodge. Mike Charest says 1 lap to go, puts up 1 finger, the field doubles up. Donald Teague up 1 spot from the start of the race. Alex Gannett in that beautiful GM Paillet number 3 has dropped 1 spot back to 5th. But everything can change on these restarts. Cautions breed cautions. Hopefully this early in the race, cooler heads will prevail. But Lapcevich, slow start through the restart zone. Finally, it looked like Andrew Ranger might have instigated that as he jumped on the throttle. And hey, we've waited long enough. We're through the restart zone. It is time to go. They continue to battle side by side at the stripe. Lapcevich continues to lead the way with 14 laps in the books, but Ranger with a good run on the high side. Now he's going to get back in line in that 20 as they race side by side for the 3rd spot. LP Dumoulin down low. Donald Teague making some tracks on the high side. That orange and gray Teague-sponsored number 80, he'll pick up P3. Now look at Dexter Stacey working the outside groove. He's alongside Brandon Watson in that 9. Raphael Lessard going to get behind the wheel of that 92 machine at the midway point of this race. Dexter wanted to start the race, earn the points for that car, but he's been suffering an elbow injury all season long. He just says it's extremely painful to be out there driving the race car. So with Raphael Lessard on hand here this afternoon, in fact, he already won a race here at the Speedway today. Dexter Stacey going to put him to work behind the wheel of that 92 recap sponsored entry. Donald Teague making a move for the 2nd spot on the inside of Andrew Ranger. Ranger gets loose off of turn number 4. Might have been a little bit of help from Donald Teague there as Teague edges forward. Ranger going to get back in line. Let's see if he's going to seek any retaliation. Doesn't look like it. Ranger going to drop in line in the 3rd spot, and now it's Donald Teague. Can he close in on race leader Trayton Lapcevich? The field is mostly single file all the way to the back. Larry Jackson poking his nose to the outside of Alex Tagliani. That's a battle outside of the top 10. Alex Gannett to the inside of LP Dumoulin. The GM Paillet number 3 drives it deep down into the 3rd turn. It's very hard to complete a pass here at Chaudiere because the outside can carry a lot of momentum. Matthew Kingsbury came on the track and he's back off the racetrack in that number 12. Gannett at the stripe. He will take that 4th position over LP Dumoulin. He still doesn't have him cleared right behind them. Kevin Lacroix waiting to see which lane is going to move. Looks like Lacroix wants to be on the inside, so he's going to commit to following Alex Gannett. But have a look at the front of this field. Donald Teague is closing the gap on race leader Trayton Lapcevich. we'll have a look at timing and scoring and see what the difference is these last couple of laps between our two leaders. Timing and scoring having a little bit of issue right now, so we'll refer back to it shortly. But we can tell you Trayton Lapcevich continues to lead the way. Teach was closing in. Now the gap has kind of leveled off for the time being. Lapcevich maintaining that 10 car length distance back to the second spot. DJ Kennington right now running right behind Sam Fellows in that 87 machine. So Kennington has been trying to march his way forward in the Castrol Edge 17, but this field is stout. But right now he's riding along behind Thomas Neveu in the 24, Sam Fellows in the 87. A couple of drivers from Newfoundland deep in the field doing battle, Brandon McFarland and Josh Collins. McFarland in the 23 just past Collins in the 56. They can see in the rearview mirror Trayton Lapcevich getting bigger and bigger. That means he's getting closer and closer. So it's time to go. Nobody wants to get lapped this early in the going. Once again, we watch Donald Teach look to be closing the gap on Lapcevich. But they seem to be swapping fast laps. Teach will run a couple of laps faster than the race leader, and then the race leader will reel off a couple of impressive laps deeper in the top 10. Marc-Antoine Cameron looks to the inside of Brandon Watson. Looks like Watson didn't want to put up too much of a fight. Deeper than that, DJ Kennington to the outside of Thomas Neveu trying to pick up a position. And Trayton Lapcevich is working lap traffic. He goes around Josh Collins in the 56. Now will set his sights on Brandon McFarland in the 23. Sam Fellows to the outside of Thomas Neveu in the 24. That opens the inside for JP Bergeron to drive up into the hole. So Bergeron actually with the advantage now over Sam Fellows. They're about a straightaway ahead of our race leader, Trayton Lapcevich. They put Wallace Stacy a lap down in the 66, Brandon McFarland a lap down in the 23, and then they've got some open racetrack between themselves and Malcolm Strawn in the Curb Records number 98. Lapcevich, after they've gotten through that lap traffic again, back up to about an 8 to 10 car length advantage over Donald Teach. Andrew Ranger a little bit slower, working his way through the traffic than the two leaders, so he's lost some ground to our race leaders. And deeper in the field, the battle rages on between Sam Fellows in the 87 and the 24 of Thomas Neveu. JP Bergeron got around. DJ Kennington got around these drivers, and he has opened about a half straightaway gap. Sam Fellows trying to clear the Neveu 24. He can get to the inside of the 24 machine. He just can't clear him. Trayton Lapcevich about a straightaway behind this battle between Neveu and the 24, Fellows in the 87, and the 0 of Glenn Stiers. Fantastic racing out here. A few drivers, and I mean all three of them improving with each lap on the racetrack. I mean, Sam Fellows ran last season in the 98 machine. This is a new venture, this 87. They're very excited about the future. Thomas Neveu, a rookie this season. Glenn Stiers in his sophomore season in that 0 machine. So doing some great learning out there, but it's about to get serious because Trayton Lapcevich is on his way. Back up towards the front of the field, LP Dumoulin is holding off a train of competitors. Dumoulin holds down the 4th spot, but right behind him, the 3 of Gannett, the 74 of Lacroix, the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. These drivers do not appear content to be running where they are, and Thomas Neveu in the 24 has gone around. And he has lost a lap, so Thomas Neveu goes around. I had turned my attention to other battles on the racetrack, but the way they were racing the last number of laps, Thomas Neville might have had a little bit of help. So 47 laps are complete. Let's sneak in another break. We'll be back in about 60 seconds here. You're watching the NASCAR Pinty Series. Welcome back to Autodrome Chaudiere, race number 3 of the 2023 NASCAR Pinty Series. It's the Bud Light 300. This time at the stripe, we will have completed 50 laps. Matthew Kingsbury back on the racetrack. We believe it was a power issue on that number 12, so not sure if they changed the battery in that 12 machine, but he is down laps to the race leader. Brandon McFarland getting the free pass under this yellow, so that's why he is lined up directly behind the pace car. With 1 to go, they'll release the free pass car, they'll double up the field, and then we'll be ready to go for the restart. A little bit of track cleanup still underway, though. Some debris down in turn number 4. The safety truck stopped to pick that up. Looks like flagman Mike Chaudiere sees a little bit more debris on the racetrack, so he's given some instruction to the safety vehicle. They missed his cue. So they may take another swing down the front straightaway. Beautiful day for racing, not too hot. Comfortable for these race fans who have shown up in the thousands here at Autodrome Chaudiere, an absolutely jam-packed crowd. And they've been treated to a relatively calm event so far. It's just what we would expect in a 300-lap affair. Drivers to maintain their cool. Of course, the next race for the NASCAR Pinty Series takes us to Newfoundland, so these cars are going to have to be used in 2 weeks' time. I am sure the crew chiefs and the pit crews, the people that do the work in the shop, have that in mind. They realize, boy, they don't want to have too much work to do, but these race car drivers out here on the track, they've got a job to do this afternoon. If it costs them some fenders, so be it. The saga continues here under yellow. The safety truck and the safety crew missing the signs from the flagman Mike Chaudiere. He's pointing to where he thinks the debris is. And I shouldn't say where he thinks the debris is. He's got a pretty good vantage point, so I'm sure he can see it. In fact, I can see it from here. As Wallace Stacy runs through it, kicks it up on the racetrack. Safety worker picks up the debris, tosses it in the cab of the truck. Runs like a well-oiled machine. 54 laps complete in this one. Trayton Lapcevich has led all the laps. Donald Teach in the number 80. He'll be able to restart alongside our race leader. Let's see if he's got anything to challenge Trayton Lapcevich with. Again, Teach has a lot of laps on this racetrack. There's something to be said for experience, but there's also something to be said for youthful energy, and Trayton Lapcevich having won each of the first two events in the 2023 schedule. Brandon McFarland released around the pace car. The 1 to go signal has been given. Trayton Lapcevich going to bring them back around to green. On the last restart, it was a crawl until he got right out at turn number 4, almost in a straight line before he decided to jump on it. Let's see if he changes up his pace. Doesn't look like he's going to. Donald Teach times that well. Keeps that 80 machine to the outside of the 20. He's keeping Trayton Lapcevich pinched down a little bit. Lapcevich able to run that inside groove. Not able to clear Teach just yet, but Lapcevich did lead at the stripe. Teach again with a good run off of turn number 2. He got a great launch off the second turn. If he can do the same off of turn 4, we might see a new leader. Not this time. Trayton Lapcevich continues to lead by 3/100ths of a second. But Donald Teach has that 80 machine rolling. He clears the 20. He'll drive it deep into 3, down the front straightaway. New race leader is Donald Teach. He leads lap number 59. They still battle side by side, but the local fans are impressed with the driver from Vallee-Junction, Quebec. Donald Teach clears the 20 of Lapcevich down into turn number 1 to the inside. The battle now is for second. Andrew Ranger up on the high side in the GM Paillet 27. Alex Gannett on the inside in the GMPaillet.com number 3. They'll race door-to-door. Behind them, Kevin Lacroix in the 74 races door-to-door with the 47 of LP Dumoulin. Alex Gannett going to get the best of Andrew Ranger. He'll pick up the 3rd spot. Ranger back to 4th. Kevin Lacroix still side by side with LP Dumoulin. Marc-Antoine Cameron right behind them in the 96. Little deeper in the field, DJ Kennington. Remember, he started all the way at the back of this one in the Castrol Edge 17. He's alongside Dexter Stacey as they battle just outside of the top 10. In fact, DJ Kennington holds on to that 10th position over Dexter Stacey. Kevin Lacroix still side by side with LP Dumoulin. We've got a bunch of side-by-side battles. Lacroix and Dumoulin, the 92 of Dexter Stacey, the 17 of DJ Kennington, but Kennington clears the 92. He'll get back down into the racing groove. All of the battles around the racetrack have leveled out. The only side-by-side racing continues to be the 74 of Lacroix, the 47 of Dumoulin, and barely a mark on either race. They're giving each other a lot of room and a lot of respect out there in the early going of this one. Trayton Lapcevich not letting Donald Teach get away, keeping that 20 machine within a car length of our race leader. Early in the going, 69 laps complete this time when they cross the start-finish line. The top 3 nose to tail, single file right together. Then there's about 10 car lengths back to Andrew Ranger in that 27, and Ranger is directly in front of this torrid side-by-side battle between Lacroix and Dumoulin. They have been side-by-side, door-to-door, almost glued together since this race restarted. Dumoulin will get a bit of an advantage on the high side, and then Kevin Lacroix will drive it in deep and able to roll the center of the turn a little bit better. Andrew Ranger right in front of them, but he doesn't seem to be affecting the battle in his rear view mirror. They can't quite get close enough to that 27 to really mount a challenge. but he might be preventing LP Dumoulin from clearing the 74 and being able to get down into the racing groove. He almost had enough to clear the 74, but not quite. This time at a turn number 4, give the 47 of LP Dumoulin that 5th spot. Trayton Lapcevich, might have been a little bit of contact between Lapcevich in the 20, Donald Teach in the 80 as they do battle. Alex Gannett had to check up just a little bit in that black number 3. LP Dumoulin struggling to keep the WeatherTech 47 on the bottom of the racetrack. He opens the door again to Kevin Lacroix in the 74, and Lacroix is going to try to open it up and make that pass. Andrew Ranger is gapped the 47 of Dumoulin by about 2 car lengths. He's about 2 car lengths off the back bumper of Alex Gannett in that number 3. And Donald Teach continues to lead the way. He's less than a straightaway behind the 66 of Wallace Stacy. Here goes a battle for the 2nd spot. Gannett to the inside in that 3 machine. He's got track position on Trayton Lapcevich. But once again, we see it's a lot easier to make a move than it is to finish a move here at Chaudiere. And it looks like Lapcevich picked up the pace a little bit, closes in on the back end of that number 80. What a 3-car battle for the lead here at Chaudiere. In fact, Trayton Lapcevich going to go to the outside of our race leader, Donald Teach. We've got a battle for the top spot. Not only did Lapcevich fight off the 3 of Alex Gannett, he's going to find another gear, work to the outside of Teach in that 80 machine, and once again, Trayton Lapcevich is out in front. Alex Gannett going to try to follow him through on the high side. They've got Teach pinched down to the bottom. That's not going to go well as they approach the slower car of Wallace Stacy. Teach is going to have to concede that spot, and he'll fall in line behind the 3 of Alex Gannett. So after leading a handful of laps, Donald Teach knocked back to that 3rd position. Trayton Lapcevich back to the point, and we'll see if Alex Gannett is able to push the issue on that 20 machine. Oh, Trayton Lapcevich has to lift around slower traffic, 3 wide into turn number 3. Lapcevich looked to go to the inside of Josh Collins. Collins came off at turn number 2 and moved down the racetrack to give him room, but Trayton was already committed to the inside, nearly costing himself the top spot. Alex Gannett about a half car length behind the race leader. In fact, it looked like he just backed up turn number 1 to try to get a run. He might have a bit of an issue. I don't know if he dialed in some rear brake on that 3 machine, but he got awfully loose going down into the corner a couple of times there. We knew in this race, contact for that 2nd position. Donald Teach doesn't like seeing Trayton Lapcevich drive away. He's pushing the issue with Alex Gannett. We know that drivers will search around the racetrack finding grip. As the fuel burns off, as the tires get hot in these things, they'll move up the racetrack, down the racetrack, find out what their car likes, what their car doesn't like. Right now, Trayton Lapcevich likes what his car is doing as he is pulling away from the 3 of Alex Gannett. Further back, it is chaos and slower traffic. Kevin Lacroix still with a nose to the inside of the 47 of LP Dumoulin. Further back, Sam Fellows in the 87 having a great battle with JP Bergeron. We are under yellow. Yellow flag flies with 90 laps complete. I'm not sure what that yellow is for. Debris on the racetrack. Maybe a body mount out there. I'm not sure where we're even looking. Between turns 3 and 4, perhaps. Just beautiful conditions for a car race here this afternoon. Let's once again take a break here on Flow Racing and TSN Plus, and we'll be back with more of the NASCAR Pinty series. Racetrack cleaned up here at Autodrome Chaudiere. The 1-to-go signal has been given. The field will double up. Although things not looking the way they should. The 1-to-go had been given. The pace car is off. It is a ragged-looking bunch of race cars, but we're going back to green. That was one of the more awkward restarts I've seen in my time with the series. A little bit of contact between Alex Gannett and the 20 of Trayton Lapcevich. Lapcevich tries to close the door on the 3 of Gannett. Gannett having nothing of it. He said, I'm driving the Intimidator number 3. I've got to remember that. He applies the pressure to the 20 of Lapcevich. Lapcevich clears the 3, but each corner, Gannett able to drive in deep. Lapcevich closes the door out in front. Gannett still right there in second. Andrew Ranger up to third. Kevin Lacroix fourth. Rounding out the top 5 is Donald Teege. They are nose to tail. 6th is Brandon Watson, and then look who's 7th. DJ Kennington, the Castrol Edge Dodge, all the way from the back of the field. That car is working for the driver from St. Thomas, Ontario. Kevin Lacroix to the inside of Andrew Ranger. Couldn't get the power down. Donald Teege right there as well. A 3-car battle for the 3rd spot. Deeper in the field, they're still double file trying to sort out after that restart. Sam Fellows starting to flex some muscle in that 87 machine. I think he's realizing that outside groove isn't so bad. He can keep a lot of momentum up there. He's racing with the 18 of Alex Tagliani, holding a pretty wheel right now on the high side. Closing in on the 96 of Marc-Antoine Camarand. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Andrew Ranger has moved up the racetrack. Kevin Lacroix on that 74. Some rubber marks up the passenger side of that 74 machine. So starting to show the signs of being battle worn. Out in front, Trayton Lapcevich and Alex Gannett have opened an advantage of about half a straightaway over Andrew Ranger as Ranger focused on trying to hold off the 74 of Lacroix, the 80 of Teege. DJ Kennington picks up another spot in that 17. Kennington up to P6. Remember, there is going to be a break at the midway point of this one. Around 150 laps into this race, they'll take a break. They will all head to the pits for some fresh general tires and some adjustments. So I've got to think if you told DJ Kennington he would be approaching the top 5 by the midway point of this race after starting dead last without a mark on his race car, I think that driver would be pretty satisfied with how things look. An amazing trio of racers. Andrew Ranger in the 27, Kevin Lacroix the 74, Donald Teege in the 80. 3 drivers all from Quebec, 3 fierce competitors on the racetrack, and 3 different lines around this Autodrome Chaudiere. Lacroix right around the bottom of the racetrack, Andrew Ranger about 3 lanes up the racetrack, and Donald Teege is somewhere in between. Some laps he goes in high, some laps he goes in low, some laps he goes in right around the middle, but they're showing there is a lot of room to operate here at Chaudiere. Ranger trying to clear the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. I'll tell you what, I don't know who it is, folks, but we can smell a rear end gear starting to burn up out there. This is how it starts. Sometimes they'll last 10 laps, sometimes they'll last 100 laps, but they rarely last the rest of the race when they start to burn. Kevin Lacroix drives it deep into 3 and 4, pushes up the racetrack, but Andrew Ranger is still there. Door handle to door handle off of turn number 2, down the back straightaway. They're approaching the slower car of Josh Collins in that 56 machine, so that could play a part in who's able to get this position. They each want to get there first, one to the inside, one to the outside. Contact between Kevin Lacroix and Josh Collins. Just like we saw with Trayton Lapcevich, he went to the inside, but Collins moving down the racetrack, coming off the corner to give these lead lap cars a lot of room. Didn't pan out well for Kevin Lacroix, but Collins doing what he's supposed to be doing out there. We just got confirmation over the radio that the 92 of Dexter Stacey will come out of that race car at the break. Raphael Lessard will get behind the wheel. And then he's going to have a long way to go and a short time to get there if he wants to get to the front and battle for a win. But we've seen him do some impressive things before behind the wheel of one of these race cars. I'm almost not sure how to continue calling this battle with Ranger, Lacroix, and Teach. Every corner they're doing impressive things you shouldn't be able to do behind the wheel of these race cars. DJ Kennington in the 6th spot hasn't closed in an awful lot. He's closed in a bit of that gap, but not as much as I thought he would, given the battle we're seeing out of these 3 drivers for the 3rd spot. Okay, I can tell you whose rear end it is. Glenn Stiers, the GSR number 0, burning up a rear end. You can see the smoke off the back of the 0 machine. It is not going to last much more than 10 more laps. If he's lucky, we'll see if they decide to black flag him. Rear end grease can be very thick coming out of the race car. The smell will be obscene. But what will happen as it continues to overheat, it'll eventually lock up. And those gears will break. There will be no drive to the rear tires, and his day will be done. So, spoiler alert, Glenn Stiers will not have a happy ending. In fact, he slows that 0 machine down, and he will head towards pit road. His day is done. Whoa, big fire under the back of the 0 of Stiers. So hopefully he stops fairly soon. He's just behind the fire trucks now in the pit area. The last thing you want is for him to head back through the garage. You prefer a driver to stop where the fire equipment is. He's gone out of our sight. We'll keep you posted on that situation as things develop. 126 laps complete of the scheduled 300 laps in the Bud Light 300. Trayton Lapcevich is pulled away. From the 3 of Alice Gannett, Thomas Neveu in the 24 has been put down another lap. In fact, I'm not sure. No, he got his lap back, so he will be down just 1 lap to the field. I'll confirm that with timing and scoring. We'll get that information shortly from you as we refresh timing and scoring to get it back up to speed. The battle continues. Kevin Lacroix, Andrew Ranger, Donald Teach, 3 drivers battling for position out there. Josh Collins in the 56. He's going to take that car to pit lane. They've been having their struggles with handling, struggling to get those race cars to turn. So he may go in for an adjustment, or he may decide that he wants to preserve what he's got so when they get to their home track in St. John's, Newfoundland, he's got something to compete with. Malcolm Strawn in the 98 goes a lap down. Trayton Lapcevich went around him. Now Alex Gannett has as well. 132 laps are complete. Around the 150 lap mark, we're going to see a yellow flag. So you know some of these drivers just thinking all I've got to do is hold on. Oh, trouble. Andrew Ranger in the 27, the team car to the 0 of Glenn Stiers. We might have had 2 rear ends let go, and the nightmare season for Andrew Ranger continues as he takes that car to the pits. Wow. The 2 cars prepared out of the White Motorsport stables, both having trouble, and I believe both were rear ends let go. Just prior to the midway point of this Bud Light 300. So traffic is a little bit lighter out there on the racetrack, but there is still a lot for these drivers to contend with. Trayton Lapcevich has moved up the racetrack. He's about 1.5 lanes off the bottom of the track now. Oh, trouble in turn number 4. Thomas Neveu in that 24 has gone around. He'll try to keep that car fired to avoid going another lap down, and he does. Wow. Yellow flag flies for Thomas Nua in that 24 machine. That'll slow down the action temporarily. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll catch you up to speed on the running order here at Autodrome Chaudiere. The crowd just erupted here at Autodrome Chaudiere at the confirmation that Raphael Lessard is going to get behind the wheel of that number 92. Race director Rob Sharp has indicated that this is the halfway break. 12 laps from the midway point, close enough. So they send this field of cars to the pit area. Once the final car is in the pits, they will shut it down, the clock will begin, and they will have 5 minutes to conduct the work that they need to do. So trying to get timing and scoring up and running does not want to cooperate. So we'll wait till the cars come back onto the racetrack to give you the running order. But we do know when the cars come back, it'll be 162 laps to go here in the Bud Light 300, race number 3 of the 2023 NASCAR Pinty Series. No driver has ever swept the first 3 races of the NASCAR Pinty Series schedule. So Trayton Lapsevich could write his name into the record books. But he has a lot to contend with out there. Alex Gannett in the GMPaillet.com number 3 has shown some speed. Donald Teege in the Teege-sponsored number 80, the Group Teege Incorporated number 80, he showed that he can get out there and put a move on, taking the lead for a number of laps. And how about DJ Kennington? Starting deep in field, dead last in a 21-car field after making some adjustments after qualifying, and he has raced his way up to the 6th position, so we'll keep our eye on the Castrol Edge 17. See if Kennington able to continue his march to the front. He barely had a mark on that race car. I didn't see a single mark on it, so he has conserved his equipment. But the time will come when they got to drop the gloves, get their elbows up, and really start to mix it up here in Chaudiere. The laps go away in a big hurry. Trayton Lapsevich with the pole sitter with a lap of 13.066 seconds. So they can do more than 4 laps a minute. So if you get a lengthy green flag run, the laps really click away here in a hurry. We saw at the end of that opening stint, Trayton Lapsevich had left the bottom of the racetrack. He had started running 2 lanes up, even 3 lanes up the track where the car seemed to get the best amount of grip out there. So We know the drivers are going to have to search, and you want a car that's going to handle come lap 290, more so lap 140. So we may see some of these teams sacrifice speed in the short run to gain speed towards the end of this event. So we enter this 2 laps complete, races complete, in the 2023 racing season. We see a replay of Thomas Neveu going around on the racetrack. Let's talk about the point standings. Trayton Lapsevich with 95 points leads the way by 12 markers over Marc-Antoine Camerant, the defending NASCAR Pinty Series champion. I'm not a fan of all the statistics in racing, but one that fascinates me. This series began in 2007. It is run continuously. Things changed a little bit during COVID. It was a different schedule, but nobody has been able to repeat as series champion in the history of the NASCAR Pinty Series. Marc-Antoine Camerant sits in the second spot and 12 points behind. Just 1 point behind him, Kevin Lacroix in the 74. 2 markers back of Lacroix is the 3 of Alex Gannett, and then 3 markers back of Gannett is the 47 of LP Dumoulin. 6th through 10th in the points, DJ Kennington. No top 5s after the first 2 races, but he does have a pair of top 10s. Same with JP Bergeron. No top 5s in the first 2 races, but he does have a pair of top 10s. Dexter Stacey, who we have talked about getting out of that 92 car to make way for Raphael Lessard. So Stacey will earn points because he took the green flag in that car. He will earn whatever points Raphael Lessard is able to score him by the end of this race. Only 2 races in to a 14-race schedule. This is the longest schedule in the history of the NASCAR Pinty Series. So a lot of things will change between now and then, but Trayton Lapsevich liking the way things are going so far in this season. Trayton Lapsevich being crew chief by his father, Jeff Lapsevich. Spotter Ken Coutu. Ken spotted Scott Steckley to a number of series championships. That group knows how to win some races. In fact, while we wait for the cars to return from the pits, let's take another quick break here so we can show you more green flag action when these drivers come back out shortly. Time is about to expire on this halfway break. Well, Drayton Lapsevich has come back out onto the racetrack. He is lined up behind the pace car. He's ready to go for the second half of this Bud Light 300. Here comes Alex Gannett. And we can't say enough about the paint scheme on that 3. GMPaillet.com. That is a 3-race agreement between GM Paillet, Alex Gannett, and the Ed Hackinson Racing team. But it's the look of the Intimidator, the classic number 3 paint scheme that Dale Earnhardt made so famous. Once all the cars come back out and they run a pace lap, we'll be able to give you a full field rundown. We just need to wait for things to reset for the drivers to come back out here. As we look up and down the line of cars, in fact, we have a look back towards the pits, you can see what a crooked road it is to get back onto the racetrack from the pit area. There's Raphael Lessard behind the wheel of that number 92. And look at the crowd there to greet him, waving their hands, waving their hats. Lessard jumped into a truck earlier today here at Autodrome Chaudiere, the local division. A truck that he had never raced before, went out and won the race with it. So he's warmed up. He's had some laps already today. I don't think it'll take long for this driver to get back into the swing of things. That 92 machine prepared by Ed Hackinson Racing, so that's the same team that Lessard drove for when he won some NASCAR Pinty Series races. He won here at Autodrome Chaudiere, but that was in a car prepared by Dumoulin Competition. Yellow flag is out. The field is going to roll behind the pace car. Drayton Lapsevich hasn't led all the laps today, but he's led most of them. In that FBM Delta Bingo sponsored 20. Alex Gannett has showed moments where his car was lightning fast. Donald Teege was able to get the lead for a number of laps. So here's how they run with 163 laps complete. Drayton Lapsevich in the 20 is your leader. Alex Gannett in the 3 is second. Kevin Lacroix in the 74 is third. The 80 of Donald Teege is fourth. The 17 of DJ Kennington is fifth. Sixth is the 9 of Brandon Watson. Seventh is the 47 of LP Dumoulin. Eighth is the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. Ninth, it's Alex Tagliani in the 18. And rounding out the top 10 is Raphael Lessard in the 92. 11th is JP Bergeron in the 1. 12th, the 84 of Larry Jackson. 13th is Brandon McFarlane in the 23. 14th, the 87 of Sam Fellows. And it looks like that is all the cars on the lead lap. Malcolm Strawn runs 15th, 1 lap down. In fact, I'm not even ready to confirm that, but it looks like Strawn is 15th, 1 lap down. Thomas Neveu is 16th, 1 lap down. Wallace Stacy is 17th, 3 laps down. Back to green we go. Drayton Lapsevich choosing to restart on the outside. Alex Gannett driving that car for all it's worth on the inside. You've got to give these tires a few laps to come up to temperature, come up to air pressure. But these drivers, they all want to get out front. The sooner they can get out front, even if you're not racing for the lead. I mean, Drayton Lapsevich out there, he wants to clear the 3. They want to get to running their own line. So even battles all the way through the top 10, they are still double file most of the way through this field. The sooner they can get single file, the sooner they can start to conserve their equipment to save those general tires for when they're going to need them late in this race. Look at this battle at the front of the field. 4 cars tightly together, 2 rows deep, 2 cars wide. Drayton Lapsevich continues to lead, but Alex Gannett not letting him get away. Lapsevich clears the number 3 of Gannett. He'll try to close the door. Gannett gets in there on the left rear quarter panel. Not so fast, Trayton. They continue to battle side by side. Trayton so smooth on the outside. He's got Donald Teach right behind him in the 80. Alice Gannett has the 74 of Kevin Lacroix right behind him, still in formation. We are under yellow as Sam Fellows goes around off of turn number 2 in that 87. Fellows trying to get back up to speed before he lost a lap, but unfortunately, he was unable to do it. Fellows had been having a great run. He had stayed on the lead lap, was making some passes before that halfway break. Looks like the hood is buckled up a little bit on that 87. I believe it got into the back of somebody, but didn't get a chance to see what exactly happened there. Wallace Stacy with some damage as well on that 66. Malcolm Strawn in the 98 Kurt Records machine. He's going to get the free pass. So he's going to leapfrog Sam Fellows. He'll go up to the 14th spot. Sam Fellows will drop down to 15th. And then Sam Fellows will cross his fingers and hope for a yellow flag to get himself back on the lead lap. Few drivers that have been quiet for the most part in this race. The 96 of Marc-Antoine Camerant. Normally ultra aggressive. He's been involved in some great battles, but not really able to charge through the field. The 84 of Larry Jackson, the 1 of JP Bergeron as we reach the halfway point of this one. 150 laps down, 150 laps to go. Not a bad thing that we haven't talked about them a lot. They've just kind of settled into where they were running, turning laps. But I watch for Tagliani, JP Bergeron in the 1, the 84 of Larry Jackson. These are drivers that are going to have to start to show their cards and make some moves in the coming restarts and the closing laps of this one. But I don't know that they've shown their cards. I don't know that they've shown exactly how well their cars are handling just yet, but we're going to find out. The sun continues to go down. There hasn't been a huge difference in the temperature out there. This one got underway right around 5:30. So by the end, that sun's going to be mostly down. The track temperature will cool quite a bit. We'll see who that benefits. Safety truck has cleared the facility. It's back up into the pits. Mike Charest has 1 to go. Malcolm Strawn will come around the pace car. And the field going to double up. It looks like Trayton Lapsevich is going to choose the outside lane once again. This will be a different restart because unlike the last start, they were on cold tires from the halfway break. Now they're on tires that have a heat cycle into them. They should be able to drive these cars even harder down into the corner. We'll see who that favors. Trayton Lapsevich has been giving ultra slow restarts tonight. And again, right to the end of that restart zone before he jumps on the throttle. Something for these drivers and spotters to talk about. Once you get to the end of the restart zone, you don't have to wait for the race leader. Once you get to the end of the restart zone, that race restarts no matter what. So might be an opportunity for a crew chief or a spotter to tell their driver, if it's Alice Gannett, hey, just so you know, you don't have to wait for the 20. If he gets to a certain point, you're well within your rights to jump on the gas pedal. Gannett drives it in deep, slides up the racetrack. Don't think there was contact. Don't see any marks on the left side of Lapsevich's car, but it is close quarters racing out there for the top spot. Looks like Gannett with a little bit of understeer. He's pushing just a little bit going down into the turn in that number 3. He'll tuck in line behind the race leader, Lapsevich. The top 4 drivers are nose to tail. Lapsevich in the 20, the 3 of Gannett, the 74 of Lacroix, and the 80 of Donald Teach. But behind them, the 9 of Brandon Watson, the 17 of DJ Kennington. They do battle side by side just ahead of a couple of Quebec racers. Marc-Antoine Cameron in the 96, LP Dumoulin in the 47. So the top four nose to tail, then a couple rows deep of side by side action. And right behind those battles rides the 92 of Raphael Lessard. Lapcevich has opened up his entry into the corner. He's entering a little bit higher than he had been. He still comes down to the apex. He still comes down to that yellow stripe, but he does it a little bit later. You watch him go into turn number one. Instead of driving right down to the bottom, he keeps that car about a half a lane up the racetrack. So if he has the bite halfway through the turn, he'll carve it down to the yellow line. If not, he'll just run a little bit higher on the racetrack and allow the car to roll a little more freely. Contact between Kevin Lacroix in the 74 and the 3 of Alice Guenette. That's the battle for second, third, and fourth. Donald Teege up on the outside. Guenette opening his entry into the corner, but you couldn't do that with Kevin Lacroix. A hungry Kevin Lacroix in that 74. The yellow flag is displayed. Alice Guenette gets that 3 machine refired. The lap before, the same thing happened. Kevin Lacroix got into the left rear corner of the 3. Guenette again, the next time into turn number 1. Took a later entry, just like Lapcevich was doing, but it leaves him exposed to a move to the inside, and Kevin Lacroix took advantage, stuck the nose of that Napa 74. Down to the bottom of the racetrack, contact was made with the 3 of Guenette, and around goes the 3 machine. That's not supposed to happen to the Intimidator. Let's have a look at the replay down into the corner. Alice Guenette again, just a little bit of a late entry. Kevin Lacroix was there. He was up to the left rear wheel. That's a tough one. That's one of those. You know, if you talk to Ken Schrader, they're all 50% responsible for going out onto the racetrack. So, looks like they're going to. I thought we saw the 74 going to the back, but that was Thomas Neveu coming around to get his free pass. Aggressive short track racing as we get down to the second half of this one. Alex Guenette, you can bet. He's going to be on the move in that number 3 and with a bit of a fire lit under him. They sort out the running order. All the lead lap cars restart at the front of the field. However, it used to be way back when lead lap cars would start on the outside, lap down cars would start on the inside. But with the NASCAR Pinty series, they've always had what they used to call shootout restart, side-by-side restart. Lead lap cars restart ahead of all the lap down equipment. So they will sort out the lead lap cars. I believe the last car on the lead lap is the 3 of Alice Guenette. Ahead of him would be the 23 of Brandon McFarlane. McFarlane runs in the 13th spot. 14th is Alex Guenette. 15th now back on the lead lap is Thomas Neveu. 16th one lap down is Sam Fellows in the 87. So they get Guenette up behind the 98 of Malcolm Strawn. That's where he belongs. Malcolm Strong going to say, no, you don't. I'm a lead lap car. So that's right. Guenette should line up behind the 98 of Strong. And then Sam Fellows, the top car 1 lap down, will line up right behind them. So the lineup looks to be correct. DJ Kennington has cracked that top 5 in the number 17. Brandon Watson in the 9, up in the 4th spot. So a driver we hadn't talked about an awful lot. Brandon Watson, an oval track specialist behind the wheel of the 9 machine. He won the season-ending race in 2022 at Delaware Speedway down in London, Ontario. He's capable of getting the win anytime we visit an oval track. He's even brushed up his road course skills to be pretty sharp there as well. Pace car peels off. Trayton Lapcevich with the field in control. He loves those slow restarts. Donald Teach did not get a good launch at all. That allows Brandon Watson up to that second position in the number 9. He'll take that. That did not work out well for DJ Kennington, Kevin Lacroix. They are losing spots. Raphael Lessard up on the high side in that number 92. Looking to work his way into the top 5. The closer you get to the front, the harder these passes are to complete for Raphael Lessard. But out in front, Trayton Lapcevich with a half a car length edge over the 9 of Brandon Watson. Cameron and Teach, a little bit of contact coming off of turn number 4. Raphael Lessard working the high lane on Donald Teach. He's up to that 5th position. He wants 4th. Raphael Lessard going to have the 4th spot at the stripe. Donald Teach isn't done fighting yet, though. He's got to be much more ginger on the brakes and the throttle down in the inside lane. Raphael Lessard can keep his momentum up on the high groove, a little bit longer distance, but a smoother arc for the 92. Brandon McFarland in the 23. He peels that car back to the pit area. It looks to be an early finish to the day for that driver from Newfoundland. Lessard not able to clear the 80 of Donald Teach. They continue to battle side by side. Now Lessard clears the 80. He'll pull down into the racing groove in front of Donald Teach. Kevin Lacroix to the outside. He wants to do just what Lessard did. Still more than 120 laps to go here in the Bud Light 300. They're about to complete lap 180. Trayton Lapcevich using the bottom of the racetrack. Brandon Watson right in his shadow, following the tire tracks of our race leader. So here's something interesting. The race leader, Trayton Lapcevich, that car prepared out of the Scott Steckley stables. Second place, Brandon Watson. That car prepared out of the DJ Kennington stables. Third place, Marc-Antoine Cameron. That car prepared out of the GM Paillet stables in Quebec. The 92 of Raphael Lessard. That car prepared from Ed Hackinson Racing. Then the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. That car is prepared by Don Thompson Jr. in Southern Ontario. And the 80 of Donald Teach with some support from Mike McCall this year. So the top 6 cars all prepared out of different race teams. That's the kind of parity we have in the NASCAR Pinty Series. A lot of people capable of showing up with some fast equipment. DJ Kennington, the Castrol Edge 17, things have not gone his way since the restart. He's back to the 7th spot, and there's some smoke out of the 80 of Donald Teach. That could explain why Kennington is sliding back. If there's oil coming off the 80 of Donald Teach, and it looks like 17 slipping and sliding a little bit on the racetrack. I don't know that Donald Teach has a lot of race left in that 80 machine unless it was a tire rub, but I don't think that was the case. Out in front, Lapcevich with about 2 car lengths over Brandon Watson in the number 9 as Kevin Lacroix battling with the 92 of Raphael Lessard. 3-car battle for the 4th spot. Lessard has the spot. Kevin Lacroix wants it. Donald Teach, whatever is wrong with that 80 machine, whatever's causing the smoke out the back of that race car, doesn't seem to be slowing him down at all. Brandon McFarland, whatever went wrong with the 23, they've made some repairs, got him back onto the racetrack. He'll get out of the way of these race leaders. Kevin Lacroix trying to clear the 92 with Raphael Lessard. They'll run side by side through 3 and 4. Lacroix moves up the racetrack, trying to force the issue a little bit. Donald Teach, the smoke getting heavier and heavier out the 80. Oh, big fire under the 80 of Donald Teach, just like we saw out of the Glenn's Tires Zero machine. And he pulls off the racetrack into the pits. That's a veteran stock car racer. Pulls off the racetrack into the pits and stops right behind the fire truck. So what I understand, these teams run different fluids in the rear end. You try to get any advantage you can, and I don't know if they're trying to run lighter weight oil in the rear end, but we've seen a few cars overheat those rear ends, smoke, and lead to big fireballs. Smoke billows off of the pit road off of turn number 4, which is a good sign. I believe that means they've extinguished the fire down there in the Donald Teach number 80. But one more driver succumbs to mechanical failure here at Autodrome Chaudiere, and their night ends a little early. Just watching the attitude of a lot of these race cars out on the track, I believe there might be some fluid out there. We're seeing a lot of drivers sliding around out there, kicking the back end out of these race cars. So it will work its way out of the racing surface, but for a few laps, they might have to be a little ginger out there. JP Bergeron up to the outside. That car shot right up the racetrack on him. At the front, Trayton Lapsevich under pressure from the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. Cameron, we talked about him being a little bit quiet by his standards. He has closed the gap on the 20 of Lapsevich, mounting the pressure on the race leader. Further back, a fantastic battle. DJ Kennington in the 17, the 47 of LP Dumoulin, the 18 of Alex Tagliani. All this right behind the 1 of JP Bergeron. That's a battle for 6th on back. Now Kennington goes up the racetrack in that 17. Side by side are Alex Tagliani in the 18, the 47 of LP Dumoulin. These cars are all over the racetrack. Just behind them, the 3 of Alex Gannett trying to work his way back towards the front of the field. At the very front of the field, Trayton Lapsevich has extended his lead once again to about 2 car lengths over Marc-Antoine Cameron in the 96. DJ Kennington to the outside of JP Bergeron. He wants that 6th position out there. Bergeron sliding through the corner 1 and 2. Kennington going to turn to the inside down the backstretch. They'll run side by side for that 6th spot. Bergeron looks like he's racing on marbles out there. That one car just looks super light. Like it's hard to brake hard into the corner. It's hard to get back to the throttle. DJ Kennington going to clear the 1 of Bergeron. He'll drive it deep into 1 and 2. Bergeron looked even higher than that. Dumoulin going to get around as well. So Kennington up to 6th, Dumoulin to 7th. Tagliani trying to pick up 8th from JP Bergeron. It's been a tough couple of laps for the sophomore driver, JP Bergeron, in that number 1. Malcolm Strawn with a big piece of back bumper hanging off the curb, records number 98. And Kevin Lacroix has joined the lead trio to make it a quartet at the front of this field. Trayton Lapsevich leads by a couple of car lengths over Marc-Antoine Cameron in the 96. Then it's 5 car lengths back to Brandon Watson in the 9 and 1 car length back to the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. Into the final 100 laps. It'll be 209 laps complete this time when Trayton Lapsevich crosses the start-finish line. He has closed in on some slower traffic. Wallace Stacy in that 66. Moves to the bottom of the racetrack. Gets out of the way of our race leader, Kevin Lacroix. Look to the outside momentarily on the 9 of Brandon Watson. As we watch this battle, trouble. Wallace Stacy almost spins around off of turn number 4, and he is stopped precariously on the racetrack, gets back on the racing surface. Provides a bit of a scary moment for some of these cars out there, but Wallace Stacy is back up to speed in the 66, and we continue to put our focus on the battle for the 6th spot. DJ Kennington in the 17 has the position. LP Dumoulin races alongside. Couple of former champions in this series. Kennington able to get the throttle back down a little more smoothly. LP Dumoulin. Whoa, Larry Jackson goes for a long slide out there in the 84. I don't think he was too happy with that. He's battling with JP Bergeron in the number 1. They go side by side down the front straightaway, just behind the slower car of Wallace Stacy. Something's got to give. They're not going to all fit. They're about to work their way down into 3 and 4. Things get real snug behind Stacy. Bergeron right up to the back bumper of the 66. Thinks about making it 3 wide. Couldn't quite do it. He'll concede that position to the 84 of Larry Jackson. I'll tell you, I don't know the entire history of Bully's Truck Stop. But I can tell you this, when someone names their truck stop Bully, that's not someone you want to flex your muscle with on the racetrack. And I believe JP Bergeron, there might have been some unhappiness there going both ways, because I think Bergeron might have got into the back of the 66 of Wallace Stacy. Let's have a look at this replay down into the turn. So JP Bergeron got the 66 loose. Wallace Stacy is a pleasant individual, but he clearly does not like being pushed around, because he pushed back on the one of JP Bergeron and he lifted until both of them were nearly concrete off of turn number 4. Disappointing for the one of JP Bergeron, who was embroiled in some great battles out there on the racetrack. Wallace Stacy in the indestructible number 66. He got some good hang time there through turn number 4. Both of those cars back on pit road, where the fun may even continue. But we don't have any vantage point of that. Let's have a look at this replay once again. Look how far Wallace Stacy had to drive into turn 3 to seek revenge. So Bergeron makes some contact and gets him loose. Bergeron clears him by 1 car length. Oh, okay, it was only a car length. That rear tires just lit up on the JP Bergeron number 1 as Wallace Stacy climbs up the driver's side door of that car. The frustration for Bergeron would be Wallace Stacy was a number of laps down, but he was doing his job. He was staying out of the way. And it looks like he didn't like the way that went down, and he took matters into his own hands. 220 laps complete, 80 laps remain. Let's take you through the rundown. Trayton Lapsevich leads the way in that number 20. Marc-Antoine Cameron in the 96 runs second. Kevin Lacroix is third in the 74. Fourth is the 9 of Brandon Watson. Fifth is the 92 of Dexter Stacy. 6th through 10th. DJ Kennington in the 17, the 47 of LP Dumoulin, the 18 of Alex Tagliani, the 3 of Alex Gannett, and the 84 of Larry Jackson. 11th, and he was starting to close in on this battle, runs the 24 of Thomas Neveu. 12th is the 87 of Sam Fellows. Now, I'm not sure why Sam Fellows is not up there in the free pass position. JP Bergeron looks like he lost 4 laps, having to go to pit road. That'll be frustrating for the sophomore racer behind the wheel of that number 1 machine. Had to go in for repairs. The field doubles up. Trayton Lapsevich again chooses the outside line, and that number 20, Marc-Antoine Cameron, going to start alongside in the 96. We haven't seen this duo at the front of the field for a restart so far today. And Cameron made the mistake of rolling out front. Again, you can fire once you get to the end of the restart zone, but you can't pass the leader before then. So Cameron needed to drag the brakes a little bit. He didn't. That could have cost him a lot more on that start, so Cameron actually fairly lucky in that 96 to maintain that second spot. Look at DJ Kennington, the Castrol Edge 17. After a disastrous restart last time, he'll try to recover and get back into the top 5. Kevin Lacroix working the inside of the racetrack. Brandon Watson up on the outside in that number 9. Kevin Lacroix has been in a battle this entire race with a number of different drivers, but he has been duked out side by side for more often than not out there. Look at Raphael Lessard. He had thoughts of making it 3 wide off of turn number 2. He is really rolling the center in that 92 machine. A little further back, things are getting exciting. Larry Jackson had some issues there in the corner. Now Sam Fellows and Thomas Neveu rubbing wheels through 3 and 4. Further towards the front, Kevin Lacroix continues to race side by side with Brandon Watson. As they do so, they're losing track of the leaders, Trayton Lapsevich and the 96 of Cameron, Raphael Lessard. He's showing his nose in a lot of different places. If he can get a good enough run, we might see him make a 3-wide move up the inside. So far, he's not been able to do it. He'll move to the outside as though he's going to follow Brandon Watson. Watson rolls out ahead, the 74 of Kevin Lacroix in that battle for the 3rd spot, but Lacroix able to drive it deep into 3 and 4. Contact down into turn number 1, side by side, they rub wheels. Lessard gonna make it 3 wide to the inside. Kevin Lacroix, just a wag of his tail, I think, told Raphael Lessard, you know what? I'm not gonna do that just yet. Might pull out that move a little bit later, but not yet. Brandon Watson has rubbed tires with the best of them. He is an elite level late model racer, super late model racer. He has run a lot of car races all through the United States and Canada. He is comfortable in almost every situation you can imagine. So rubbing wheels with Kevin Lacroix, this is nothing new for Brandon Watson. He regroups. They've lost a little bit of ground to the lead duo, but still side by side for that 3rd spot. Nobody really getting an advantage. That time at the stripe, Brandon Watson had the 3rd position. Raphael Lessard again building ahead of steam as he closes in behind these two, and right behind them, Tagliani, Kennington, LP Dumoulin, Alex Gannett closing back in that number 3. Lessard once again looks to the inside, so when Kevin Lacroix drives it deep down into the corner, that Napa car comes up off the bottom of the racetrack, and it seems to be more prominent down in turns 1 and 2. It looks like he has a little bit more trouble keeping that car down in turn 1 than he does in turn 3. And when he does open that door, Raphael Lessard keeps showing a nose to the inside. Kevin Lacroix, nope, the spot still belongs to Brandon Watson at the line. So Kevin Lacroix has done everything but clear the 9 of Brandon Watson. Now the race leaders have a full straightaway advantage over 3rd spot. Now Kevin Lacroix has that 3rd position at the stripe, but he can't quite clear Brandon Watson just yet, trying to get to where he can slide up in front of that 9 machine. And now Raphael Lessard loosens up the 74. Kevin Lacroix finally completed the pass. Raphael Lessard lightens him up in the back end. And Brandon Watson again able to roll the nose of that 9 machine to the outside of the 74 for position. Now he's going to give up the fight. 74, Kevin Lacroix takes 3rd. Raphael Lessard up to 4th. Brandon Watson back to 5th. He'll get back into his rhythm. Just behind them, DJ Kennington trying to hold off Alex Tagliani. And for the first time in about 150 laps, they are single file all through this field. Out in front, Trayton Lapsevich with a 2-car length advantage over Marc-Antoine Cameron. They've got a full straightaway over Kevin Lacroix running in the 3rd spot. Traditional knowledge of the NASCAR Pinty series tells us we will get another yellow, and if we get another yellow, we will probably get 2 or 3 more yellows. Cautions breed cautions. but you never know. Things are getting dicey towards the back of the field, and everyone is on different laps. Josh Collins in the 56. Right behind him is Thomas Neveu in the 24. Sam Fellows in the 87. Matthew Kingsbury in the 12. None of these drivers are battling for positions. They are all on different laps, but you wouldn't know it to watch them. Kennington continues to hold off Alex Tagliani. Larry Jackson looks to the inside of Alex Gannett. That's a battle for the 9th spot. Larry Jackson has been up into the top 10 and fallen out of the top 10, but still the O'Neill Electric Supply eBay Motors 84 in one piece with all the fenders remaining on it. He draws up closer to the Gannett number 3. The lights come on here at Autodrome Chaudiere. When the sun is going to go down in these mountains, it's going to get dark fairly quickly. I don't think we'll be in complete darkness here for the end of this one, but the track temperature is about to cool significantly. Jackson drives it deep into 3 and 4. The car pushes up about a lane or so. Still room for both of them to navigate the turn. They continue side by side, door to door, down the back straightaway. Gannett rolls out ahead. Jackson again drives it deep into the corner, tries to get back to the throttle. The car gets loose. Gannett clears the 84 of Jackson. So Alex Gannett defends that 9th position out there. Larry Jackson has to settle back into the 10th spot. Ahead of them, DJ Kennington continues to hold off the 18 of Alex Tagliani. Trayton Lapsevich into some slower traffic to the inside of JP Bergeron, and he's about to drive into that Hornets nest we talked about earlier. The 24 of Thomas Neveu, the 87 of Sam Fellows, the 56 of Josh Collins, the 12 of Matthew Kingsbury. They're not battling with each other for position. They're all on different laps, but they're all running different lines around the racetrack, so this is going to be a challenge for Trayton Lapsevich. He clears the Collins 56. So does Marc-Antoine Cameron. Next in line is Matthew Kingsbury. Kingsbury goes down to the bottom of the racetrack, and that Duro King number 12 leaves plenty of room for the race leader. Lapsevich goes around to the outside. Cameron going to do the same, rolls to the outside of the 12 machine. It's now about 4 car lengths between first and second. Next in line, Thomas Neveu in the 24, the 87 of Sam Fellows. Fellows cleared the 24 of Neveu. So he will try to keep himself 1 lap down in position to get that free pass, but might be tough to do with Trayton Lapsevich on the charge. Lapsevich to the inside of Fellows in that 87. We'll see if he's able to clear him in one corner, and he does. So Marc-Antoine Cameron now with 2 slower cars between himself and the race leader. Cameron is not known for having a ton of patience behind the wheel of the 96. He is an aggressive racer, and this has to be frustrating. A little bit of bumper to the 24 of Neveu, and Cameron goes by on the inside. If the hole's not there to his liking, he'll just make one. Larry Jackson again racing side by side with the 3 of Alex Gannett. Kevin Lacroix now approaching these slower cars of Sam Fellows, Thomas Neveu. He'll have to navigate them with Raphael Lessard in that 92 closing in. Lacroix runs the risk of getting pinned behind a slower car. No, he works his way to the middle, clears Sam Fellows, so a nice move by Kevin Lacroix. Laps continuing to wind down. It'll be 35 laps to go when Trayton Lapsevich crosses the stripe this time. Just ahead of our race leader Lapsevich, Larry Jackson still trying to dispose of the 3 of Alex Gannett. Gannett does not have the speed he had earlier on in that 3 machine. And Larry Jackson struggling to get back to the throttle. He can make a move to the inside of the 3, but he's not been able to clear the 3 as of yet. A yellow flag would really suit both of these drivers out there, but in the meantime, they're going to continue racing hard, and Trayton Lapcevich is going to have some choices to make in the coming laps as he closes in on this side-by-side battle. Alex Gannett even higher on the racetrack in that side-by-side battle. Larry Jackson, that right front might be starting to get warm. Jackson pushed up the racetrack. One of the most sportsmanlike drivers in the field, Larry Jackson in that 84, and he heeds way for the race leader, Trayton Lapcevich. Now we'll see if he can follow him through. He would love for Lapcevich to make a hole to get around Alex Gannett. Lapcevich drives to the inside of that 3 machine. Gannett with a good run down the front straightaway. Lapcevich again to the inside. Not quite able to get the power down. This could take a number of laps for Lapcevich. Alex Gannett quite comfortable up there on the outside. Trayton Lapcevich with an impressive lead out there in the 20. Doesn't want to push the issue too much. He'll clear the 3 of Gannett. Now the battle between the 3 and the 84 is the battle to see who is in the free pass position. Sam Fellows had been that driver. Now it's Alex Gannett, but Larry Jackson again making a move to the inside. Drives it deep into 1 and 2. They continue to battle side by side down the backstretch. They do not want to be side by side when Cameron comes to call. When the 96 of Cameron arrives at these two, he is not going to wait long. He is going to push the issue. So they're going to want to sort things out. Larry Jackson gets sideways. He'll get down out of the way. Cameron goes around the 84 of Jackson. Now Cameron will close in on the 3 of Gannett. Meanwhile at the front, Trayton Lapcevich just pulled away nearly half a straightaway over the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. "25 laps to go in this Bud Light 300. This is that stretch of race that we've seen in so many NASCAR Pinty Series races where you wonder if there's going to be another yellow. We can't answer that, but if I was a gambling man, I'd say we're still good for at least one more yellow flag in this one. As Kevin Lacroix to the inside of the 84 of Larry Jackson. Trayton Lapcevich closing in to the inside of Malcolm Strawn. He goes now. The next cars ahead of Trayton Lapcevich are good lead lap cars. Alex Tagliani runs in the 8th spot on the lead lap. He is not going to want to be overtaken by Trayton Lapcevich. Kevin Lacroix trying to clear the 3 of Gannett. On the inside of that number 3, not able to get the power down quite like Trayton Lapcevich could, quite like Cameron could in the 96. Rafael Lessard way up to the outside to go around the high side of Larry Jackson. 20 laps remain. Trayton Lapcevich just setting a torrid pace out there in that number 20 machine. Closing in on the 18 of Tagliani and the 1 of JP Bergeron. They race side by side. Tagliani is not going to lay over. He's not going to get out of the way. He's going to try to make a move on Bergeron in that 1 while Trayton Lapcevich looks to the inside of the 18 of Tagliani. Rafael Lessard looking to cross over the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. 3 wide down the back straightaway. Trayton Lapcevich puts Alex Tagliani a lap down in that 18. Now to the inside of JP Bergeron. 15 laps to go. Rafael Lessard into the left rear corner of Kevin Lacroix. They touch off at turn number 4. They rub wheels down the front straightaway into turn number 1. Kevin Lacroix able to hold down the Rafael Lessard 92 as they work down the back straightaway. Lacroix rolls out ahead of Lessard coming off of turn number 4 at the stripe. Lacroix still hanging on to that position, but only by a hair. Lacroix not able to make that move. He's going to fall back in line. Now he'll look to the outside through turns 1 and 2, all the way up towards the wall down the backstretch. He'll drive it deep into 3 and 4 on the high side. He's going to have a head of steam coming off of turn number 4. Kevin Lacroix closes the door. Down the back straightaway, a couple of slower cars just ahead of Lacroix and Lessard. What a battle for that third position. Oh, trouble in turn number 2. There is the yellow flag we talked about. Thomas Neveu in the 24, parked the wrong way up off the end of the racetrack. My goodness, race fans, what finish this sets up for. Let us set the field. 290 laps are complete. Trayton Lapsevich is a race leader in the number 20. Marc-Antoine Cameron in the 96 runs second. Third, the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. Fourth, the 92 of Raphael Lessard. Fifth, the 9 of Brandon Watson. Sixth, it's the 47 of LP Dumoulin. Seventh is the 17 of DJ Kennington. That is all the cars on the lead lap. The 18 of Alex Tagliani unofficially should get the free pass, but we will wait until officials inform the 18 to pull up behind the pace car. So I believe we'll have 8 cars on the lead lap when it's time to restart this one, and indeed it looks like Alex Tagliani going to go take his place behind the pace car. By the time we get this race restarted, there will be just more. In fact, the tow vehicle that they're sending onto the racetrack does not have a push bar on it. So I don't know if they will push Thomas Neveu with that flatbed tow truck or if they're going to haul him up on the flatbed. If they haul him up on the flatbed, that's another couple of laps under yellow. We'll see how the crew chooses to deal with this as they make their way down to turns 1 and 2. Rob Sharp, the race director, has called for the red flag. 292 laps complete. They have thrown the red to clear this 24 of Neveu. They must have had radio communication with the spotter or with the crew chief to say, look, we need a tow. A push isn't going to do it. We need a tow. Thomas Neveu is starting to climb out of that 24 machine. An eventful day for the driver of the Aviram number 24. He was involved in a few melees, but he still had pretty good speed out there. We look at the 20 of Trayton Lapsevich. He's had things his way most of today, but this restart is going to be unlike any other. He's going to have Marc-Antoine Cameron directly beside him. He's going to have Kevin Lacroix and Raphael Lessard lined up in row number 2. I still maintain there has to be a crew chief or a spotter talking to the second place driver to say, look, he has to fire before the end of the restart zone. So if he gets that far, you don't have to wait for him. You can just jump on the gas. But when you're in a championship hunt, do you want to take that chance of being penalized for jumping a start? Let's take a quick break here. When we come back, it'll be the exciting conclusion of the Bud Light 300. Welcome back to Autodrome Chaudiere. The yellow flag being displayed once again. Thomas Nevuz, number 24, being hauled back to the pit area after a disappointing ending. Just 8 laps from the end of this Bud Light 300, and his day comes to an end. What a finish this is going to be, race fans. Alex Tagliani not going to be a factor unless we get another yellow. He'll get the free pass to get back onto the lead lap, but without another yellow flag, he won't be able to get up and race among the leaders. Once again, these drivers head to Newfoundland for a race 2 weeks from today. So obviously their haulers are going to have to leave. These teams from Ontario and Quebec, those haulers have to leave well in advance. I think there's going to be some body work that'll need to be done. 1 to go signal has been given. Trayton Lapcevich elects to start on the outside. Marc-Antoine Cameron in the 96. That GM Paillet entry on the inside of the front row. Does Trayton Lapcevich wait as long as he has on this restart? Or does he change things up and fire a little bit early? We're about to find out. Even start with 5 laps to go. Lapcevich up on the outside. Cameron to the inside with a big run off the corner. He runs the 20 of Lapcevich up the racetrack just a little bit. Coming off of turn number 4, Marc-Antoine Cameron with the advantage. Problem for Brandon Watson in the number 9. Not sure what's gone wrong with the 9 machine, but it has no power. Lapcevich back to the second position, all but pushing the 96 of Cameron through the turn. 3 laps to go. Cameron trying to get away from the 20 of Trayton Lapcevich. He opens up a car length on the back straightaway, down through 3 and 4, 2 to go. The top 6 cars are nose to tail. Lapcevich not quite close enough to mount a challenge, but he really got through 1 and 2 well there. White flag will be in the air. 1 more lap to go this time for Cameron as they race off at turn number 4. Marc-Antoine Cameron extends that gap down through 1 and 2. He's only got to get through 3 and 4. 2 car lengths the gap between Cameron and Lapcevich. The Bud Light 300 to Marc-Antoine Cameron. Second place to Trayton Lapcevich. Raphael Lessard comes home 3rd. Kevin Lacroix 4th. LP Dumoulin in 5th. DJ Kennington with the back bumper hanging off of that 17 machine. He will finish in the 6th spot. What a show. These Quebec fans are going crazy for Marc-Antoine Cameron. He qualified 11th, outside of the top 10 for the driver from St. Leonard d'Aston, Quebec. He made his presence felt in the second half of this race. Right up to the end of the first half, he really wasn't pushing the issue. He was having a solid day. We talked about some exciting storylines. GM Paillet had 4 cars here today. Marc-Antoine Cameron in the 96, the 27 of Andrew Ranger, the 87 of Sam Fellows, and the 3 of Alex Gannett. I'm not sure if Marc-Antoine Cameron would have been the first driver you would expect in that group of 4 to be the one to get to victory lane, but he did it. Marc-Antoine Cameron taking that checkered flag for a victory lap. We should be able to hear from Trayton Lapcevich and the 92 of Raphael Lessard. Those drivers will head down to the start-finish line. Todd Lewis will be down trackside. As Cameron rolls to a stop just shy of the start-finish line, you can see a little bit of rubber mark on the 9 in that 96, but by and large, that was just a beautiful pass, a great restart by Cameron. And when it counted, he was able to show up and get it done. I have a feeling when he climbs out of this race car, we are going to hear an excited Chaudiere crowd here in Vallee-Junction, Quebec. Things getting set up around the race car. Joel Robinson from Fuel Media Lab leaning into the race car to give Marc-Antoine Cameron some instruction just before he climbs out of the winning machine. He was dominant in 2022, leading more than 800 laps in a 12-race season, something the likes of which we have never seen. The crew comes running down the front straightaway. Here he is, out race car, Marc-Antoine Cameron, the crowd cheering for their Quebec driver. He didn't lead a lot of laps, but he led the lap that pays the money.
Spotlight 300 NASCAR Pinty. Aujourd'hui, Autodrome Chaudière de Vallee-Junction. Événement digne de mention. Encore une fois, qui va passer à l'histoire. Quelques instants, mesdames et messieurs. On va procéder au tirage. Ça veut dire que
So we will have some reaction from Victory Lane here shortly. Trayton Lapsevich with that hat pulled down. A disappointing finish for the driver from Grimsby, Ontario. And folks, that's going to do it. From Vallee-Junction, Quebec, the Bud Light 300 goes to Marc-Antoine Cameron. Trayton Lapsevich comes home second. Raphael Lessard comes third. Kevin Lacroix fourth. And LP Dumoulin rounds out the top five. We look forward to seeing you in St. John's, Newfoundland in 2 weeks when the series travels east. That'll do it from Quebec with the NASCAR Pinty Series.